Design or Die podcast, meant to connect creatives together and help you navigate the struggles and the triumphs of what it means to be an entrepreneur so that you and your business can thrive. I'm your host, Colette. Let's get creative. Hello, happy Friday. I wanted to come on here today to talk about successful people and how you can be successful. You know, success looks different for every person. We all have different goals that we want and different things we want to strive for, different things that fill our cup and make us happy. Essentially, the whole reason I started this blog and now podcast is because for so many years of my life since college, I've had so many people reach out to me on Instagram, people I knew in person, people I didn't, asking me either how to start your own business, how to do what I'm doing, design specifically, being a graphic designer, or just, needing help and tips for their business. And this is the whole reason I started this, right, is to give my experience and tips to people who are just starting out or still navigating that process, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes I did and you can probably get closer to your goal quicker without having to go through that trial and error that everyone does. And the thing I try to instill in people is the only difference between successful people and yourself, is literally just starting. Just starting somewhere, putting yourself out there, giving it your all. If you don't give it your all, you're not going to achieve as much as you'd like. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? I am privileged in the sense that I am married. I have a husband who has a really great job to fall back on. Now, that's not to say if we weren't together that I wouldn't be doing this. I have worked for all of it just by myself. I, again, started in college and it just kind of developed on its own. And I've been putting all of my own money from jobs I've worked or, what I've made through the company, putting it back into my business to make it work. There's been countless times, I was just talking with a friend over coffee yesterday, well, tea in my case, about how many times we want to quit every time we have a slow period or things aren't really going our way. It's so common to feel okay, should I just go apply for a regular job and, because it's steady income. And that's the thing too, I think people forget when you're trying to work for yourself, it's not going to be steady income, at least for a long time, and you have to really prepare yourself for that. I had to prioritize it. I first nannied and continued working a flexible job that was part-time as my business grew and was able to go full-time. And another thing is the key to success is really just not giving up. Like I said, there's been so many times where I'm so ready to throw in the towel. I'm why am I doing this? How is it even helping me? It's causing so much more stress. There's a lot more time and energy that goes into it than maybe a job that you can leave the work at work when you work for yourself, because, in the beginning especially, you want to be available all the time and you want to give the best that you can. And it's very tiresome. It burns you out. But I think the important thing is sticking with it. And that's the whole difference, right? So if I gave up every time I wanted to, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. I wouldn't have this business. I wouldn't have this career. It's so important to just know that every setback is almost like a launch into something greater. I can't tell you how many times I've wanting to give up and the next day I'll get a huge break. Every single time that's happened to me. Every single time I'm ready to throw in the towel, something big happens and it forces me to keep going. And here I am today. I'm expanding. I'm working on right now trying to hire an assistant because I realize I can't do it all myself. And I think that's important to remember too. You're just one person. So if you're running yourself too thin, and I'm to a point where I have enough business coming in, but I just don't have the bandwidth or have enough time. I'm one person to do it all. I'm trying to find someone who can do the back end stuff, emailing, calls, follow-ups, consultations, social media, stuff like that. I mean, that's the thing. When you work for yourself, you're not just doing one job. You have so many different jobs. You're a content creator, you're a social media marketer. I do all that myself because I can't really afford to like hire that out yet. You're doing all of these things, so I think it's important too to know when to scale back and know when to go forward. Know when you need help, because it sounds great to do it all yourself and get all the benefits and the profits, but I'm to a point where I don't have enough time focused on what I'm actually doing and what I'm actually passionate about. I'm focusing so much more on the other things, and those are all full-time jobs in themselves, right? It's to a point where I'm noticing that and trying to make a change, and I think that is what's gonna put my business further and be able to take on better, higher paying clients, because I have the ability to put all my efforts into my design work. So my husband and I have been watching this show called Undercover Billionaire on Discovery Plus, but we got it through Amazon. And being a Capricorn, it literally has motivated me so much. I think it's kind of what made me jump into being like, okay, I need an assistant if I want this business to grow. So let me talk about it. So 3 billionaires go undercover and they have a 90-day challenge to go to a new city, change their appearance, change their name. They're given like a shitty car and $100 and a phone with no contacts. And their challenge is to prove that they can make $1 million in 90 days, which sounds insane, right? Like, you're like, that's like not even possible. But it is so crazy, like how I haven't even finished it yet, so I can't say what happens, and I'm not gonna like spoil it if you want to go check it out. It is so crazy, like, that they're actually kind of doing it. All of them at some point wanted to give up, and they're billionaires, right? They're like, I just want to go home and go back to my lavish lifestyle. Like, I've already worked hard for this. Like, why am I here, right? But the point of them staying there, and the whole point of the show, is to show that you can be successful in a short amount of time if you put the work in and you use your resources and your skill set to find something that not only like aligns with you but can make money and like people will enjoy and want to support you. So one of the guys, right away, he's like a multi-billionaire. Right away was like, I gotta find the people like who have the most money in this town, right? He's in the middle of nowhere kind of. And the other people are using their own resources, like a church or their personal background or anything they're connected to. So like each person takes a different approach, and I think that's important to remember. Like, there's not a one size fits all for business or running your own small business. That's what I'm saying, is like, I've had an acquaintance in the past ask me, like, how do I do what you're doing? How do I just become a graphic designer? And I'm like, well, I mean, I can't really tell you, right? Like, it took years to develop this, and I've, had a passion for it since I was like a kid, and I learned some skills, at 11, 12 years old. So there's no like quick way to get rich or, whatever it is, get successful. I think it's important to find something that you're good at, that you enjoy, and that can make you some money and make you happy in the end, because that's really what it's all about. Pretty much every job that I've had after high school was always a way for me to make money and save so I can do whatever I want to do. And I did that for a long time, a couple of years. I would work half the year, save up all my money, and then take half the year off and just travel and do what I want to do, visit my family. And I've just always been that type of person that I don't want to work for anyone else. I don't want someone else telling me what to do. I mean, ask my parents, that shit does not work. I've always been like super independent, and I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I'm a very impulsive person, and I say that lightly because I definitely think really deeply and really quickly about what it is that I want and what I want to do in that moment. I think it through, so I'm not just like, oh, let me go blow money and like do something rash. No, I'm not like that. I'm a planner. I'm a type A Capricorn, like I said, like I plan everything. So for me, like, my goal has always been to have flexibility, and if I want to go see my family next week on a whim, like, I'm gonna go do that. I don't want to work for anyone else. I don't want someone else telling me what to do. I mean, ask my parents, that shit does not work. I've always been like super independent, and I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I'm a very impulsive person, and I say that lightly because I definitely think really deeply and really quickly about what it is that I want and what I want to do in that moment. I think it through, so I'm not just like, oh, let me go blow money and like do something rash. No, I'm not like that. I'm a planner. I'm a type A, Capricorn, like I said, like I plan everything. So for me, like my goal has always been to have flexibility, and if I want to go see my family next week on a whim, like I'm going to go do that. So that's why that's been like my motivating force. Every time I've wanted to like go back to a regular job, I'm like, oh no, I can't do that because I want to be like super flexible in my time. And I just feel like you have one life to live. So I want to live it in a way that suits me and not someone else. And I know that's so like not the norm for everyone, and not everyone's going to have the ability to do that depending on your situation. I get that. That's just my experience. Like if you're like me and you like can't be held down, that's why it's so important to make a successful career that can give you the things that you want outside of work, but also fulfill you while you're doing them. You guys know I love to give you all the free tips and business advice so your business can survive and thrive. And to keep that going, I've created a Patreon account where you can become a supporter and get exclusive content, one-on-one business advice, and ask me all the things. So if you'd like to help keep this thing going, go to patreon.com/design or DIY. Thanks so much. I've heard from a lot of people too that, you know, they like graphic designers that I've met, they're just like, oh, I just like studied this in college like because I wanted to make money and I just thought that was a good field to make money in. It's like, okay, well, there is some jobs where you can make money for, you know, pretty well with it, but I wouldn't say that's the norm. I think I make more working for myself, and that is why I work for myself. I wasn't willing to put all the creative efforts and like basically run the show for little payout and having someone else boss me around and tell me whatever they think. I just wasn't about that. So I think it is important to find something that you actually enjoy. And I mean, look, they're not even doing that anymore, the person that I was talking about. So, you know, it's like the next best thing that came around, they went and did that. And that's fine, like whatever you want to do. But keep in mind that if you're going to work for yourself and you're going to put all this effort in, you have to find something that aligns with you and that you're going to want to run forever. Otherwise, it will fail. I mean, think about how many people we know from high school that was like, I'm just going to like do hair because it's easy and I don't have to go to college. And like how many people are still doing that, right? I mean, I wanted to do that. I did have a passion for it. And sometimes I regret not doing that. But at the end of the day, like I love what I'm doing now. So I think my life kind of went in a direction that was where it needed to go. That's the other thing. Sometimes it's not going to come out how you think it will, and things will change, and you kind of have to go with the flow and go with it and see where it takes you. On my last episode with Sierra, we talked about that, how she almost said no to something that she thought wasn't really like on track with like what she was trying to offer as far as services, and her saying yes to that thing opened up all these opportunities. So I think that's the other important thing to note, is to be flexible, and if it changes, like go with it. It's never gonna like come out how you think it is. So one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to is the Highest Self podcast by Sahara Rose. If you're on a spiritual journey or trying to find out your purpose in life, I highly recommend listening to that. I do think listening to her podcast was a big leg up for me wanting to start my own podcast. Like I said, I've always wanted to turn my blog into a podcast because I feel like I can say things a lot better than I can write them sometimes and connect with you on a deeper level. Her podcast has helped me a lot in my personal journey, and it's funny because there's actually a test you can take on there to find out what you kind of align with in life. I took this like archetype test, and the first one said I was like an artist. So it's like saying I should be in a creative field. I'm like, cool, like I'm on the right track, right? The second one was like a nurturer, which I also very much align with. Like, I think if I wasn't doing this, I'd definitely be in a position of helping people in some way. Both of my siblings are or were psychology majors, and I definitely think I could have went that route too. We're all very empathetic people. It's really interesting how this kind of solidifies who you are and tells about where you can kind of use your strengths and place that in your business or career. And I think that goes for anybody. I don't think that's just for people like working for yourself. I think aligning yourself with something you truly enjoy is going to make you love your job in the long run. And again, that's not to say that there aren't like so many stressful things with working in general, and there's going to be times where you do want to give up. But again, I think if you align with it more, you're going to want to see it through. So if you're fresh out of college or you're still navigating like where do you fit in this world, and you're wanting like a career change up or anything like that, I highly recommend like taking this test. It's on Sahara Rose's website, and I'll link her in the show notes so you can kind of take a look if you're interested. So I think when you are considering a new career or a career in general or to start a small business, think about what people say you're good at. Like, what do your friends tell you? Do they say you're a good listener? Are you good at giving advice? Are you good with animals? Are you great at like solving problems? Are you great at social media, content creating? Like, think about those things that people tell you you're good at, what you find yourself doing that you enjoy, even if it's not for monetary value, and kind of figuring out a career path that is on par with that. I think that's a great place to start. And I think another thing to remember, if you are wanting to start your own business or small business, you have to really put yourself out there in a vulnerable way. And that's not just on social media, that's just in general. Like, if you want to book clients, you have to get face-to-face with them, video calls, in-person consultations. That's your best bet at, getting a new client, because at the end of the day, there's so many people doing what you do, but you have to show who you are, and that's when people will be like, oh, I really like this person, I want to work with them, I trust them with my money. If you're someone who's like a little bit of an introvert and you don't love like talking to people, I recommend taking a public speaking class. I did mine online, I was lucky, but taking classes like that or free resources online from other creators, try to utilize that so you can build up those areas that you're a little bit weak in. Everyone has strong points and weaknesses, right? So you want to work on your weaknesses, make sure those are leveling up so you can level up in life, and see where it takes you. I've had so many people I've done like business consults with and stuff, and they're like, I really just like hate talking to people, I don't know what to say. And that's where also passion behind your project comes in. Because if you don't have passion behind it, it is kind of hard to talk about, right? You're like, okay, well, this is just like what I do. This is how I can help you. And, that's that. But if you're passionate about it, you can explain why they need to hire you, why they need this in their life or for their business. And that's going to make all the difference. Successful people aren't born successful. There are some people, obviously, that are born into privileged life and are born with money that have the ability, from their parents or anything to level up in life and get ahead. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have that to be successful. I think success is more like a mindset. And if you are confident in yourself and in your business, that's going to put you so much further than if you're doubtful and if you're like, this is never going to work, because it won't. If you're thinking that, then it won't work. It's like reverse psychology of your own mind. Like, you have to tell yourself that, no, this is going to work. Like, it may be hard, it may not work at first, but I'm going to make sure it happens. So think about that this weekend or, within the next couple of weeks if you're planning on shifting things up a little bit, and let me know how it works for you. I will link again, the test in my show notes from Sahara Rose, and I hope you guys have a lovely weekend, and I can't wait to talk more in 2 weeks.